Hollywood's in trouble in 2024. I think we already knew because we've looked at the release schedule and oh boy, that is a veritable who's that and what the heck is actually on the horizon for the entire industry and even the bleed over from the end of 2023 when we can finally put a bow on a bunch of these failed studio projects. Well, it's not great to really kick everything off because the big tentpole January release, just like last year you had Mithrigan, and then before that you had another low budget horror film, you had Night Swim. And Night Swim, I actually seen quite a bit of marketing for this, so there was a big push behind that, but guess what? It ended up doing nothing, because Wonka, old Timothy Chalamet shucking and jiving up there on stage for whatever reason, for the middling response that it's gotten from a lot of people, it's still the king of the box office. Like, what are we doing out here? This shit is absolutely wild, but let's take a look. Now, first weekend of 2024, down 18%. As Wonka makes $14 million, Night Swim paddles to $12 million, and Aquaman 2 is actually the biggest story, and one of the biggest through lines that I'd like to touch on, but let's get the rest of the box office out of the way to begin with. While the supply of movies was able to keep the 2-week holiday box office up over 2023's by 13%, a lack of a mega tentpole carrying over into the new year, and just like, yes, Avatar, The Way of Water. Remember that came out this time last year? You know how many people are still talking about Avatar? It's so wild. It made over $2 billion, and nobody talks about it. Such a strange phenomenon. Anyways, the first weekend box office of 2024 looks to be down 18% from the same period in 2023, with an estimated $87 million. If we thought the fall box office was wonky, well, here comes 2024. Remember, this time last year, they had Mithrigan providing a cushion. However, Universal Blumhouse's, is this a Blumhouse? Really? And it did nothing? Night Swim is not that hipster. Young female, young adult movie is number 2 debut with $12 million. Yes, granted it's the top of its projection range, but yeah, $12 million with that much marketing. Like I said, I've seen that everywhere, and I don't even watch commercials or ads like that. Like, I got YouTube, whatever, premium in Canada, they call it YouTube Red in the States. Then Rumble doesn't really have ads like that, so I pretty much stay insulated from that, but even still, I've seen the premise of this film. Warner Brothers Wonka won its third out of 4 weekends with $14.4 million and $164.6 million running total overall in the 4-weekend number one streak for Warner Brothers. There's still kids off from school. Oh yeah, with K to 12, 42% on break until Friday, and then yeah, tomorrow most of them are going to be back to school anyways. Might have a 1-day carryover, but generally speaking, it's going to be back to business as usual. Night Swim landed a C cinema score, which is middling for a horror film, but I'd imagine it's probably about the same. But yeah, looking at the rest of this stuff, so Wonka, even when it lost 234 theaters, still ended up making a whole bunch of money. It lost 50% of its revenue for its fourth Friday, right? Yeah, it's been out there for a month, but Sunday drop wasn't all that bad. Saturday, Sunday 3-day, only down 36%. Good legs, I guess. But the big story for me is Aquaman 2. Okay? Aquaman 2, rather, under its professional name, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom is now the highest grossing DC movie of 2023. That is absolutely wild. And then this weekend specifically, Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom has passed $300 million worldwide. And crossed $100 million domestic. You know what didn't end up crossing those numbers? We'll talk about that very shortly. But, man, the fact that it hadn't fallen out of the top 5, even with all the quote-unquote stiff competition of the holiday season, which its competitor, didn't have the benefit of at all. A movie that is just so mind-bogglingly mediocre ends up doing better than, obviously, better than The Flash? That's wild, okay? With similar budgets and everything, it's still going to end up losing hundreds of millions of dollars. Let's, not muddy the waters anything, or try to downplay its verified flop status, but also have to give the devil its due. It did something that no other superhero film could possibly do this year, ending up taking all of the bad press. All of it. and then ending up turning that into a positive. Congratulations to that, because, like I said before, its competitor, which is now officially out of theaters, because I went and seen, okay, after 56 days. There's no other Marvel film, at least in the current incarnation, that was in theaters for a brief period of time like the Marvels. Couldn't even make 2 months. Couldn't make 2 months. Got to a point where even though it was only in 160 theaters, it's only making $25 per screen. Yo, man, that's like two people turned out to that stuff. But yeah, man, barely crossing $200 million on a $300+ million budget, not breaking, not even coming close to $100 million domestically. Aquaman 2 making more money internationally than the Marvels does in totality. You gotta also keep this in mind. One of those franchises is dead and going to be put on ice for months, and the other one has a brand new installation coming out tomorrow. I can't wait for Echo. That's going to be so much fun to make 2 videos on, maybe, because nobody's going to remember it. It's just going to be done and dusted. Like Marvel itself wanted to make that thing disappear so bad, but they just couldn't. They even got rid of an extra episode. They're dropping it all in totality. But hey guys, it's going to be the first R-rated show under the MCU umbrella. It's going to be revolutionary. Make sure that you come and see our that's Daredevil. And oh yeah, we got so many keys to jangle. It's just totally going to make our terrible premise far more palatable. That's why nobody's allowed to talk about it. Even the people that have seen it, they're not allowed to talk about it until an hour before the show drops on Disney+. Tell me your show is awful without having to tell me your show is awful. But it's going to end up, okay, for as bad as it's going to be, and for as incidental the viewership was always destined to be, it's going to end up getting a knock-on effect from the Marvels, because the last thing that anybody had, like the last remnants of the MCU taste in 2023 left in anybody's mouth, was this steaming pile of intergalactic shit. If anybody's still, okay, for a New Year's resolution, trying to cut costs, okay, tighten up your budgets, if anybody still has a lingering Disney Plus subscription out there, are they going to be enticed to go see Indigenous Deaf Amputee Girl? You know, some 160-pound cretin beat the fuck out of some ripped 250-pound dudes? Yeah, it's definitely going to be great. But hey, guys, she can go ahead and believably keep up with Daredevil for 7 minutes, you know, for an uninterrupted fight scene. That'll look good and be totally believable. Can't wait to talk about that one when it eventually does come out. But we'll see if it breaks any records like the Marvels did. The Marvels ends its theatrical run with unfortunate MCU record. Here's what the latest Marvel project box office run looks like. Well, do tell us, Pink Villa, sure, whatever. The Marvels has ended its international box office run with a record, as the superhero film failed to generate significant interest. Aw, shucks. Must have been the terrible plot, unlikable characters, and the overall history of abuse that the franchise has heaped upon the public. Something like that. Disney stopped reporting weekly box office figures for the Marvels less than a month after its debut, as the film strayed further from the top of the charts after its opening weekend, resulting in the lowest return for an MCU movie ever. The latest box office update confirms that the project, by reports last December, the figure is far from what Captain Marvel made after the 2019 premiere, with the original film earning over $1.13 billion worldwide. Yeah, only a $900 million Yo, that just registered right now. It lost $900 million. $900 million. I thought I fucked up by saying $900 million, but no, that's true. Holy shit. As per comicbookmovie.com, the Marvel's Captain Marvel sequel, The Marvels, failed to recoup its $275 million budget. That's on the low ends, resulting in a global box office take of $205.8 million. Yes, we just looked at that right here. There it is. That's the official. There it is. It's done and dusted. It's out. Yeah, while $121.3 million was attracted from overseas territories, surpassing the previous record set by 2008's Incredible Hulk. Oh, fantastic stuff. So I pulled up the numbers because why not, right? But international numbers for the Incredible Hulk, you know, that one right there, it's actually higher. So there's another one that they lost. So it's not even right. The Marvels, despite its infamous box office records, has received mixed reviews from critics and audiences, except for the people that watched it and went, wow, all of those critics and reviewers are liars. That was horrible. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 62% critical rating. Yeah, that hasn't changed since, what, the day after its release? Funny how that works. And an 83% audience score. It's so nice that it sits at 62%, meaning that it's officially rated fresh. Because anything over 60 gets a fresh rating. I'm sure that wasn't bought and paid for at all. No, of course not. It's not like you can pay $50 to reviewers that was exposed earlier in 2023. No, couldn't possibly be the case. The Marvels faced several issues before its release. Exactly. According to Bob Iger, it was the coof. Not enough supervision, and I don't know, is there a hurricane that we can blame some stuff on? Because it couldn't possibly be the script, characters, the inexperienced people in front of and behind the camera, the lackluster output from the previous few years. No, it's not any of those things. It's just clearly these non-connected issues. Just, no, just, it's fine. Marvel starred Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, Teyonah Parris as a Saber astronaut, Monica Rambeau, and Iman Vellani. Oh, God bless her. Hopefully that she gets as far away from Marvel as possible so that she can have a career as Kamala Khan is Marvel. Meanwhile, the MCU will be leaning on Deadpool 3 for a much-needed boost, as it will be the only movie released in the cinematic universe in 2024. And yes, I've said it before, and a lot of people have as well. Deadpool 3 is going to make a lot of money. Let's keep it a buck. But when we've also looked at the 2024 Hollywood release schedule, that looks like, that and probably Despicable Me 4, look like the only bright spots on the calendar. The only ones that you can go ahead and go, there's a reasonable belief that those could make $1 billion, but I'm going to go ahead and say Deadpool 3 might make Guardians 3 money. It might make Guardians 3 money, but somewhere in my mind, I'm seeing about $750 million, no more, no less. It's going to look good. It's going to look good, especially if you grade on a 2024 curve when there is very little of note coming out. Very little good of note, very little anticipation of note. That right there, for as many keys of the Fox Marvel universe as they can jangle, that's a one-off event, because right after that, and the first thing that they release in 2025, it's wild to think about, is Captain Black Falcon America Man. Yeah, and he's supposed to lead the new Avengers, huh? Best of luck with that. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.